Hi. How are you?
Is your phone on silent?
Yeah.
His phone sometimes rings in the middle of the scenes.
This is a true statement. Thank you guys so much for coming. Some of you I recognize from yesterday, which means we're going to have to come up with whole new answers today. Do we just want to go into questions, or how do you want to run this?
Yeah, sure. So who's up for the first question?
Questions.
Hello.
Hi again.
Yes, from yesterday. Actually, my question pertains to that because yesterday I decided to do a little math. Since you are part of a franchise that's going on for over 22 years.
That's right. You started by watching Jag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're watching it now.
Yes, as well. So I decided to add up the length of each episode for each series completely to the hour. And for Jack, that's 172 hours. For NCIS, completely up until now, 242 for your show, NCIS LA, 144 hours total.
No. 185.
Well, no, that they've seen here, maybe.
Oh.
Well,
Oh, no.
No,
Yeah,
I used average 45 minutes.
Oh.
Smart.
So
Because
you
we
take-
count it as
taking
1
out the
hour.
commercials.
Yeah.
We count the commercials.
Yeah, I know.
Alright,
I
fine.
just-
The man has a point.
Yeah.
Okay.
I used the DVD runs. And for New Orleans, that's under 54 hours. So a total of 610 hours.
And you've watched it all?
Not all of it, but...
Has anybody watched all of those hours? Jag, NCIS, NCIS LA, NCIS New Orleans?
You have? You watched them all? I feel like we should give you a cape or something. I'm gonna make a cape real quick and then give it to you. That's amazing.
So what do you think about that you're part of something that's that massive in hours of television and...
I feel like that's like asking us, what does it feel like to be on planet Earth? It's such a broad, it's a world of a franchise, and to be a part of, like, I feel infinitesimally small in it.
Infinitesimally.
You can't even say it. Infinitesimally.
There's a silent Y in there somewhere. We talked a little bit about this yesterday of kind of why there's success in a show like this, which is about the idea of, life being so chaotic and finding solutions and good guys and bad guys. And, I think that's a demonstration of that. You know what I mean? Is that there's a formula to shows like this, like Jag and the Mothership, which is what we call NCIS. And even in its infancy, NCIS New Orleans, and there may be another one.
Is there?
You never know.
NCIS Germany, how about that?
NCIS Hannover. It's just me and you solving crimes, dude.
Thanks for leaving me out.
Chasing down chocolate.
Thank you for your answer.
Thank you for doing the math.
If you want, I can give you the complete text.
I remember it.
I memorized.
I got it in my head.
Oh, you did
Okay.
too. Okay, that's great.
But if you want to...
I did the math of how many hours we spent shooting it, and we're around 15,600 hours.
Holy shit.
I
Thank
can't swear in front of kids.
I think Batman isn't here today. There's a Batman
15,600
kid here
hours.
today. Okay, next question.
Hello.
Hi.
I have two-part questions. The first part is mainly for Eric. I want to go back in history a bit to the local boys, to the movie.
It's a good movie if you guys haven't seen it.
I really love that. How was it to shoot the movie? Was it more fun to spend a lot of hours at the beach, or was it rather exhausting to do all the surfing scenes?
That was with Mark Harmon too, I'd like to point
Yeah,
out,
so
from
for
NCIS.
anybody that hasn't
That's-
seen this movie, I did it 2000, I was shooting it when 9/11 happened, so it's 2001. And I play a kid who's lost his father, and Mark Harmon plays a guy that comes in and starts dating my mom, and that obviously is the dynamic of the film, is trying to process that information. There's a great scene where I'm like hugging Mark Harmon and crying.
No. It's the classic this.
That's,
Like, let me punctuate and hold me. It's very well done, but it's the classic, like,
that
oh, I
acting
hate
is
you, I
so
love you.
spot on. I think I punched him in the head and then at some point break down. Because it's a kid that is unable to communicate his emotions. And this figure obviously is a representation of a boy. I was playing like 17 in it, that can't handle the responsibility or the position that he's in. And then someone comes in to try to play that role and he doesn't know how to deal with it. So there is that kind of pinnacle scene that is very of the trope. Listen, I came from the Midwest, which is like Hannover, and moved to Los Angeles, and my girlfriend my freshman year was from Hawaii, and she taught me how to surf, and I fell so in love with that. So when that script came around, they're like, it's a surfing movie, and I was like, yes. They're like, I go, I don't care. I was like, I'm in. So that was such a fun movie to do because, you go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning, watch the sun come up, you surf, it was like those type of experiences. If anyone here is summer camp a thing in Europe? Do people go to summer camp? So it's like summer camp. You go for 2 months or 3 months, you meet all these new people, and you shoot in this crazy location, you make new friends, and you get to surf, and then it's over. And then you write letters to each other for the rest of your life. But that movie was like summer camp at the beach. It was really fun.
There was no emails at the time, so they write letters to each other?
Yeah, handwritten.
And my second part for questions for both of you. How was it to work with Mark Harmon?
Oh, okay, so how many people were here yesterday?
Yeah.
You're going to hear this story?
I'm going to tell a story that I told yesterday, which is one of my experiences with Mark Harmon when we started shooting NCIS LA, the 2 first episodes aired with NCIS. So I'm sorry if you've heard it already, but so basically,
it's a good story.
I was very nervous. It was my first job. You're not really sure if NCIS LA is going to really go after this, because for now all we have guaranteed is these 2 episodes that are going to play with NCIS. And Mark Harmon was lovely. He was very welcoming. He was sweet. He loves pranking people, which I think few people know because he plays such a stoic and serious character on the show that few people know that he's actually very funny with his pranks. But I was standing in front of one of the screens once, and I was very serious because I was told that Kenzie is she's a strong woman, and to me, strong woman meant super straight back, very serious, not funny, not very engaging, which is so different than what Kenzie's become nowadays. But I had gum in my mouth, which is a very unprofessional thing to do when you're shooting. And I got really worried because they were about to roll and they were about to call action. And I was like, oh my gosh, I had gum in my mouth. I was like, I'm so sorry, I had gum in my mouth. And I see this hand coming from behind me like this. I don't know who it is at this point. I do this. And I look back, and it's Mark Harmon. And I'm not going to tell you what he did with the gum afterwards because it would be incredibly, I would give him a bad name, but he did something that...
What did he do with the gum
He
after?
didn't put it in the garbage, I'll tell you that.
What did he do with it?
He put it in someone's coffee. Who I'm sure only realized it when they finished the coffee.
Was it Chris O'Donnell?
I really don't know.
It's a good story. Why would you not tell?
Because I don't know. It's not cool to do that.
Yeah, it's really funny.
It's really funny, as I'm telling you. He's a prankster, and he'll take it to a certain level that you wouldn't expect Mark Harmon to, because he's Mark Harmon. But he's awesome. That's one of my first encounters with Mark Harmon was that.
Yeah, and mine was, obviously that's 16 years ago, but he was amazing. And I was in college and crazy. And he was a voice of kind of a veteran perspective on the business. And I think when you start off, you have an idea of how the business works. And he was very articulate about, he'd been in it at that point for 20 years and was like an older brother. He was great. I loved him.
I want to say that he's probably the most popular actor on television ever.
He's got the highest Q rating in the world.
I don't know. Do you guys know what Q rating means? I didn't know what it meant.
Recognizability across the whole globe. He and Paulie Perrette are like 1 and 2.
Yeah, that's true. I think NCIS is actually the most popular show in the world. It's true. Not our show, then it's the original NCIS.
Thank you.
Max the police dog. What's the Max the German show with Max the police dog?
Und Max.
No.
Max und Front.
Who can tell me what the name of the show is? Can you tell me the name of the show?
No.
Max the police dog? It's a German show. We have it in Portugal. It's German.
I'm not German.
Well, does anybody from Germany know what I'm talking about?
Somebody let her off the hook and just say yes.
Is anybody from Norway?
Oh, yeah. The German show about the dog. Good work. Next question.
What was your favorite part filming of season 8?
Season 8, the one we just did?
Yeah. Where were you?
I'm not sure. One of my favorite funny moments in season... Well, so first off, obviously Danny was pregnant for the first half of the season. And so they had to... You want that out of there? Is that in your eyeline?
No, but it's in their camera eyeline.
That was an ad for water.
Are you getting paid? I'm not getting paid.
Yeah, you get like 13 cents every time that's in that picture. So she was pregnant for the first half of the season, and so the writers had to come up with a storyline so that we could shoot around her while she had the big belly. And so they came up with the whole storyline of Syria, which I loved. I think that's kind of the best work that Danny's
This is probably
done.
one of my favorite seasons, actually.
Agreed.
I would say.
So there's a scene, you guys have seen it, where I'm terrified she's not coming out of this coma. And I propose to her, and it's all over the map. Like I'm talking about, garages and everything else like this, and it goes, this speech. And I'm giving this proposal speech, and it's my coverage, so it's my close-ups. When you shoot a scene, first we'll do a wide shot, which means everybody's in it, and then we do a closer shot, and then we do a close-up, and we turn around and get a close-up of Danny, so it takes a long time to shoot a scene. So it's my close-up, and I'm giving this proposal, and I look over, and Danny, who's supposed to be in a coma, has got tears rolling down her eyes. And I was like, what are you, you're in a coma! You can't cry when you're in a coma!
You did a really good scene. It was a lovely proposal. If you were my brother-in-law, I would have said yes. I'm just kidding. I really wouldn't.
That whole first part of the season, I think, was really a different type of show. It was a much more, because usually we have like the banter and all that fun stuff, and it was really heavy, dramatic stuff. That was really fun to shoot.
It was also, we had a different experience this time around, because usually when you shoot an episode, we shoot one episode at a time. So it's 7 or 8 days of the same episode. So everything's kind of out of order. And with this sequence of things, when I was pregnant, because I had to obviously go on maternity leave, and so we shot, I think all of our scenes for 10 episodes, we shot them in 1 week. And so you have a much closer arc of story where we can actually visualize the beginning, the middle, and the end. So that was a very different experience than what we usually do of 1 episode at a time. One of the things that I learned, if any of you are interested in acting or anything like that, is listening is a lot easier to do when your eyes are closed. So the reason why I got so emotional when I was listening to him do the proposal, even though I was supposed to be in a coma, is because I wasn't watching him, I was listening to him, and I was listening to the emotion in his voice or whatever it was, and I literally knew exactly what take they would use from, maybe you did 2 or 3, you didn't do very many. I knew exactly what the one they would use was the most real of them all, just by listening to him. And so that was a lesson for me in acting, really, is, we really need to listen more, because all of your reactions, it's acting and reacting. That's what we do as humans. And there was another story I was going to tell. Oh, it's also been a roller coaster of a season. We had 2 births, Eric's daughter, Esme, and my daughter, Sierra. We had 2 deaths. Miguel Ferrer, who you're all aware of, and some of you may not be aware, but our sound mixer, David Schneider, he also passed away of cancer during the season, and we're all very, very close to him too. So this season has been explosive in so many ways, I think. So, and also we have a new showrunner this season, which is Scott Gemmell. So a lot has changed this season for us, some for the better, some for the worse.
But I think it's our strongest season so far.
It is our strongest season.
From a
More questions?
What were your first thoughts about each other when you got introduced as co-stars?
Have you not heard this story?
You guys haven't heard the story? So,
Go ahead.
I think I'm really smart and have really good responses to stuff, and I realized when I met him, I don't. I'm not quick enough on my feet to give good responses. I plan one response, and anything after that, I'm like, and don't know what to say. And so I met Eric for the very first time. Oh, and before Eric got cast as Deeks, there had been a series of other actors that they had auditioned for the role. And I did what we call a chemistry read with these other actors. So they want to see if me, the established character on the show, has chemistry with this other actor. And because, you know, if we're going to be working together for so many years, you want to make sure it works. And Eric was the only one I did not do a chemistry read with, and he got the part. So I feel like I ruined it for the other guys, probably.
That's really interesting, actually. So everyone...
You would not have got the part if we had read together.
Everyone that you did a chemistry read with was like, ugh. And then they just hired me out of the blue. They're like, we'll just stick him in there, he'll make it work.
So I think the first time that we actually saw each other for the first time was at the table read for the episode that he was going to be in for the first time. And I was like, oh, I'm going to show this guy how clever I am. And I'm going to go up to him and say something really snarky. And I was like, hey, I read Deeks was supposed to be like muscly and tanned. What are you going to do about it? And immediately, without missing a beat, I hear this.
And I thought Kenzie was supposed to be good looking, so what are you doing about that? She turned,
Which is when
and just walked away. And then she went, I remember this too, because she went and sat down in her chair, and she was just like, and then she just looked at me, and I just kind of winked, and she's like, woo! But the
anyway,
moment...
it pretty much established the relationship for the
your eyes
next
got
8 years.
so big,
It's like,
you're like, oh.
But in the back of my head, I was like, oh, this is going to work. It's going to be funny. And as you see, like, this is the dynamic between us. I say something, he says something back, which is more clever, and then I don't have a response, and I punch him.
We're trying to work on
That's where that punch came from, was me not having anything to say.
Yeah, people were worried because it was like a violent, and it was really just like you would run out of comebacks, and I would improv on camera, and then she would just be like,
There are times that you ask to be punched.
yeah, no.
You're like, oh, you should punch me after I say this. I'm going to say something, and you're going to want to punch me. Do it.
So episode,
Okay.
season 3 or something, we had a taser fight where you were like fighting with a knife thing to taser, and I'm a firm believer in like...
Do you guys know what a taser is?
The Germans have the taser.
But it may be called an Aufschlusser or something.
Ich habe ein Rädergummi. Okay, that's all I got, eraser. So there's these knife tasers, and we're supposed to be knife fighting. So for her coverage, of course, I have mine off. So I like hit her, and she's like, ow! And we're acting. And then for my coverage, I was like, hey, just do me a favor. I think it'll be much funnier if you turn yours on so that I can have a real reaction to it. Because there's no way.
Right, but I just want to premise this by saying to turn it on is you push it once and you let it go, and if you touch the person, it gives you like a quick shock.
Right.
Like a
So
static shock.
you do this, and now it's charged. If it taps, it goes off.
Yeah.
You touch it once.
I didn't realize this.
You touch it once.
I thought you were supposed to keep your finger on it.
So we're doing the fight scene, and she is holding it down, and you can hear going, like firing up to like weapon strength. You know what I mean? Like all shields on attack. And by the time she hits my shoulder, wherever she hits me, it lets it's like, and you can hear me go. I look more masculine, so I was like, ugh!
By the way, that's how he sneezes.
Yeah, it's a very
He's
masculine sneeze. So, we'll talk about that more later. So she hits me with it, and she holds it, and it continues to shoot the currents into my shoulder, where it actually turns red and kind of like bubbles up. And that's in the show.
It burned the skin.
Burned the skin.
You can see him, he goes, oh, that really hurt. He walks off camera.
So in that episode, you'll see when she tases me with it on, that's a real reaction. It's like, ow, oh my god, that really hurt. That's all real. It's all real.
Do we have any questions on this side of the room? Oh, you're right there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Ik habe einen Taser.
Hey there. I wanted to know if
You're
you
Doctor
like...
Who?
Yes.
Yeah, what's
Good
up?
call. Who's your favorite doctor?
What?
No, never mind. I was just going to ask if you like play pranks on each other, and what's like the worst prank you ever did on each other?
Have you not heard these stories either?
No?
Well. I've done more to you than you've done to me.
You tell the short
You've
one's
done
fine.
nothing to me.
I don't have to.
What does that mean?
I mean, it's Tell the short one, because that's actually really funny.
Okay. So there was the MMA episode shortly after
My
Eric-
first episode.
His first episode where he had to do the MMA fighting with LL Cool J. This is season 2. End of season 1.
End of season 1. So she's already buried herself at the table read. So that's already happened. That you're supposed to be good looking,
Right.
and she walks away. So now she's really like, I'm gonna get him.
I'm gonna get him.
So good.
So anyway, so he's not feeling well. He was supposed to go to rehearsals, but he was doing another movie, so he couldn't make it to rehearsal. So he's learning all these fight scenes on the day. The bottom line is, by the end of the day, he was exhausted, like blindly exhausted. I finished a little bit earlier than he did. So I decided to go into his trailer and to ask the wardrobe department for some needle and thread. And I sewed the t-shirt sleeves shut. And I sewed the pants at the bottom shut.
My own clothes. So
Yeah, his
you're at
personal
work
clothes.
and you're in your outfit for the show, and then once you're done with work, you go back to a trailer and you change into your own clothes.
Right. So what happened, because I wasn't in there when he was changing, so what happened when you got back to your trailer, and it was all neatly folded exactly as you left it?
Yeah, because I'm super neat.
Yes, actually.
So I go back to my trailer, I'm totally exhausted, I've made it through the day, LL Cool J didn't kill me, and I'm trying on, like I go to put my shirt on, and you should do this to one of your friends.
It's really funny.
And I try to put my shirt, my arm in the thing, and it's not going through.
It's like, I don't understand.
And then I try to put the arm in the other one, and it's not working, and my arms are like stuck, and I'm looking in the mirror like, what is happening to me? Like I'm some sort of creature, and this isn't working. But you're so tired and so exhausted that I really don't know what's going on, and I keep trying to shove my hands through the outside of the shirt, and they're not going, so I just give up. And I'm just standing there looking in the mirror going like, what is happening? And all I can hear outside the trailer is the cackle of an idiot. Just her outside the trailer
like
laughing
trying to-
so hard.
Yeah, I'm listening.
But it was really funny. It was really, really funny.
That's probably the most appropriate prank we can tell you.
Good question.
Next question. More Christians. Don't be shy.
You
Don't
can
be
just
shy.
yell it and I'll repeat it.
Hi.
Oh,
Oh, here.
hi. You were here yesterday. Hi.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Thank you. My question is this. How weird is it to play a couple in front of the... I mean, you've probably heard that question a lot of times, but how weird is it to be a couple in front of the camera and then go home and you are going home to his brother? I mean, you know?
It's only strange when you say it out loud in words.
Yeah, it's kind of routine at this point, but when you're like, how's it being a lover to him on screen and then
Yeah.
going home to his brother, you're just like, yeah.
Well, first off, a lot of you probably already know this. I'm the one that introduced him. It was
Right.
like she was dating a guy and my brother was dating a girl, and let's just say that you know it's one of those relationships you can see with your friends when they're not happy. And I was like, you really, like, my brother's amazing, and I told my brother, I was like, my co-star's amazing. You guys would really, you know, I think you guys would be a great team. Which is what I look at. All relationships are just
Not
teams.
at all what you said to me. You said you like muscly guys and he likes brunettes with big shoulders. It wasn't as romantic as you're painting it. Maybe in your head that's what you were thinking.
No, well, you put little seeds in their head. And I was like, yeah, he thinks you're really good looking. And you were like, really? And my brother was like, yeah, she really loves guys that are big shoulders and look like rugby players. And he's like, really?
Apparently we're both Scooby-Doo.
And you know what? What's great about it is that when they first got together, that was a real concern, I think, for kind of everybody. Which is that how does this affect the dynamic of the show?
I want to say that I actually approached you about that too. I was like, what if this doesn't work out? And we're with our families, and every Sunday we all work out together at our house. Sunday Fun Day. If anybody follows us on Instagram, you'll know Sunday Fun Day. You know, Sarah and I were pregnant at the same time twice. It's actually kind of perfect. You know.
Was that a Fraggle that just walked out of here? Fraggle Rock?
A Fraggle?
You guys know what Fraggles are?
I thought you made up that word.
No, Fraggle from Fraggle Rock. Yeah, and I think this season is proof of like, we just had a total tangent.
ADD.
This season I think is proof of like, this is the best year of Denzi, in my opinion, especially as you get into the end of the season. I think there's some really kind of life-affirming and relationship-affirming moments.
Have you guys seen the finale? Has anybody here seen the finale?
Yeah.
All right, well, don't spoil it for the people who haven't, because...
But I think it's the best year of that relationship, and I think that's an indication for us and for the fans and everybody that it's just, this has worked. You know, her and Dave making this beautiful family, and us still maintaining this, you know, relationship on screen that, you know, somehow we pulled it off.
The writers have been really fantastic about not making any of the romance between Kenzie and Deeks gratuitous. I think every moment that you see that might be a little bit more intimate, it's all necessary in the moment. It's all called for. There's a build up to those moments. So, which I also appreciate. It makes everything much more valuable when you see it, I think.
Such is life.
Next question. Just one more thing. The dog show you're talking about, it's Kommissar Rex.
Kommissar Rex! That's the name of it. Why didn't you shout that out earlier? That's it. You left me hanging.
Rex? The dog's name is Rex.
Kommissar Rex.
It's not Max, it's Rex.
It's Rex. I said Rex.
Obviously a different
Oh, you know
dog.
why? No, because we had it in, we had
Don't
the
try to
German,
justify it.
We had the German show in Portugal, in German, with Portuguese subtitles, and then they made a Portuguese version of it, which was Inspector Max.
Well,
That's
we're
why I
never
thought
going to
it
get
was
those
Max.
30 seconds back.
Okay, who's up for the next question?
Hi, it's me again.
Hi.
I wanted to ask if you ever heard your German voices from NCIS in German.
No, I've heard the French and the Brazilian. They're all much deeper than my voice, though. They're all like more mature, stronger sounding voices that I've heard. I don't know what the German one's like.
Have you heard it? Of course you have. The
Welcome to
DVDs,
Germany.
the DVDs also have this German guy?
Yes.
So
There's
you
no
guys
option
have,
for English?
You guys have never heard this
Yes,
voice
I
until
watched
now?
it in English and in German, and I think they picked it very well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
They
good
do a
to
good
know.
job?
Yeah.
All right.
That's good to know. I think I told the story yesterday, but for those who didn't hear it, so there was a girl who participated in the show, a guest actress in season 1, and she was from Eastern Europe. I can't remember what country she was from, but from Eastern Europe, and she played a part, and she told me that she was my voice in her country. So it was kind of cool that then she was playing a guest role in her show. So
I'm going to learn German so that I can do
barely
my...
speak English.
I barely speak English, she's right.
Yeah.
So
I
I
heard
can
it
do my
yesterday.
own...
You put it on Instagram.
Oh, what?
Your German.
Oh, yeah,
yes.
Spot on, right? It's perfect.
The one when we arrived before we
Yeah.
Yeah, super good. I'm going to work on it, I'm going to get better.
Any more? But the girl right next to you had a question.
Hey, my question is, who does the most bloopers on the show, and will we ever get to see them? Because I've been waiting like all DVDs.
It's so obnoxious they don't release those.
They don't release the bloopers. I think some people are not okay with some of the things that are said and done in the bloopers.
So let's clarify what a blooper is. Is a blooper somebody messing up their lines, or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so your question is who messes up their lines the most?
Yeah.
You're looking at me? You make them up.
Yeah, that's true. I make up most of my
But
lines.
no, I think he's not here to defend himself. But I believe Barrett, who plays Eric. But in all fairness, him and Renee, who plays Nell, they have the hardest lines because it's all like information and technical terms and things that are very difficult. If you're having a conversation with somebody where it's questions, answers, or actions and reactions, it's much easier to know your lines. If you're doing things or make them up. When you have to be speaking to the air, on a fake Bluetooth when there's nobody really in front of you, and like, yeah, the camera from the street, and they went this way and that way, and they used this technology. It's much harder. So
I do think I've asked for it on the DVD because it's my favorite part of DVDs. Like Fired Up, we had like 12 minutes of bloopers on that movie.
they
It's
show it
so
at the
fun.
rap party.
And they do. They show it at the rap party, and it's so funny because, listen, there's nothing better than LL Cool J's real laugh. Like when he's laughing for real, it is the
It's larger
best.
than life.
It's the best laugh. And everybody's exhausted, and sometimes you get punch drunk, or I don't know how to say that in German, but you get exhausted where everything becomes funny. And we have a really good time, and I wish that those would be on the DVD. I'll ask again.
Yeah.
because it's a good question. But who makes the most mistakes on their lines is probably Barrett.
It's not true at all.
Okay, for the next question, we have this lady, and
I'll
she's a
translate.
huge fan of yours, exactly.
From
And she was
Brazil.
asking if she can ask the
Obrigado.
question in Portuguese.
I will translate the question.
Okay.
Então, a minha pergunta é para os dois, Dani, para você e para ele. O Dix e a Kenzie, através da série, né, de NCIS Los Angeles, eles influenciaram assim milhares de pessoas no mundo inteiro, né, passando uma mensagem de força, de positividade em cada episódio. Eu queria saber se vocês, como vocês se sentem acordando cada dia com essa responsabilidade, né, de levar com vocês toda essa coisa nos ombros, assim, como seria?
What?
So sorry, people.
No, I will translate.
1943 to 1952.
So the question is for both
Mostly
of us.
badgers. Just giving every possible answer.
Raccoons.
What was
No, the question is for both of us. And what Daniela, that's her name, what she asked was basically NCIS LA gives an image of strength and de força e de...
A força, a positividade, vocês passam uma energia muito boa, né, para todo mundo.
So we transmit a lot of positivity and strength in the show, and how does it feel for us to have the responsibility of sort of carrying that on and representing that?
Well, that's a good question. Like as an actor or as the show, as a platform?
Não, porque vocês são formadores de opinião para adolescentes, para adultos, perante a série, né?
So we help form people's opinions. So how does it feel to have the responsibility
Então,
of carrying that message?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think it's tough because I think there's obviously the heightened element of television that makes things too easy. But I think that's again why it's popular, is because we have these easy solutions on television, where everything else in life is much more complicated and nuanced. So I think it makes people, I know we're having this trouble a lot in the US, which is where we have easy solutions for everything. They call it the superhero complex, which is that we're so used to this idea that when something goes wrong, someone comes in and fixes it immediately, the superhero complex. And a show like this perpetuates that we have simple solutions to larger problems. So it's a delicate balance of entertainment and also some sort of responsibility to the realities of the world.
Legal, mas...
Did that make any sense?
Obrigada.
Obrigado. It's a good question, though. Do you want to add to that?
No, I honestly think you nailed it. That's it. Well done.
Okay, next question.
Hi.
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 I have a question for Eric
Okay.
about the movie of your past.
Okay. Hit me.
Do you learn cheerleading for Fired Up?
Did I learn? The question was, did I learn cheerleading for Fired Up?
He was a cheerleader in high school.
That's not true. So the story of Fired Up is my buddy wrote that movie, and he was making it at Sony, and they couldn't find anyone to play that role. And he said, we may not make this movie, they don't know if it's funny, can you just come in and do the table read, which is where you all come in and read the script out loud for the studio. So everyone, you come in and read. And so I came in and read the script out loud to the studio, because the guy that wrote it had me in his head. And the studio loved it, and then they had a lot of trouble casting it, because he's supposed to be 17. And they kept saying, we're looking for Eric Christian Olsen, but 17. I was 29.
And how many times a day did you have to shave to keep that 17-year-old?
Well, no, they didn't. There was never an idea for me to do the role. They just had me do the table read to show the people that it was funny, and then they tried to cast it. And they looked at, Jensen Ackles from Supernatural, a bunch of people that were kind of in that realm. And then finally they called and said, you got to come do this movie. We need you to shave twice a day. And I was like, I don't want to do the cheerleading movie. And they're like, no. I was like, I don't want to do the training. He was like, it's not cheerleading training, it's football training. We'll put you through like 2.5 weeks of football camp. And I'd done that before for Not Another Teen movie and some other movie where I played a football player. So as soon as I signed the papers, the director looked at me and goes, hey, so about that football camp, that's not happening. I need you to do 3 weeks of cheerleading camp. And I was like, you totally lied to me. He's like, you already signed the papers, go to cheerleading camp. So I showed up to work, and it was like me and Nick D'Augusto, who plays the other role, and like 15, dancers who were just so excited to do cheerleading camp. And then me. But I found out, though, if anyone in here is ever a cheerleader, that it's so much work. And we drop somebody on their head. So yeah, it was, I had to learn how to be a cheerleader.
It's a very funny movie if you guys haven't watched it. It's called Fired Up. You should watch
I saw
it.
him with my boyfriend and he...
Was he like, meh, why is that guy
At
naked?
the end he sleep.
He fell asleep? Dump him. You should break up
Because
with him.
I remember once we were driving somewhere after work, I don't know if we were grabbing lunch or something in the middle of the workday, and some girl goes, oh my God, Fired Up! And he goes, I owe you $15! We're spending it on the movie. It's funny. Do we have any other, is there anybody in the back that wants to ask a question? There's somebody, oh, Joker, right there. Joker, Suicide Squad.
Okay, my colleague is coming right over.
No,
Am I talking too fast?
you always talk too fast.
That's probably true.
Go ahead.
Hit us.
My question is, which is your favorite character in the original NCIS series?
Michael Weatherly.
Cody DePablo. Ziva.
Yeah, I think obviously the template is there. I mean, that's kind of what they based our relationship
Yeah.
off, is those two.
Yeah,
And
well, we
Weatherly-
became friends with them outside of work too.
Yeah.
Like we've hung out with them a bunch of times and dinners and so
Didn't Cody come to your wedding?
she did. Cody was at my wedding, yeah. Yeah, she's
They're both friends. They're both great. It was sad to see them go because I think that's an intricate part of that type of show.
that whole coupling, yeah.
Weatherly's really good. But so is Wilmer. Wilmer's amazing too. I think he's a great addition to that show. He's a talented actor and charming and funny. He's great.
Yeah, I realized when I joined NCIS LA, obviously having done the research and watching NCIS, I realized that I was, I don't like this word in this sense, but some sort of equivalent to Ziva's character, the tough girl. And I approached Cody when we were doing the episodes with him, and I said, what is your biggest piece of advice for me stepping into a role like this and, doing a show? And she said 2 things. Save your money and be quick in hair and makeup. And she was, 45 minutes in hair and makeup. Yeah, it's like 45 minutes in hair and makeup, when a lot of times women may go through 2 hours of hair and makeup, and it's just like, we're supposed to be special agents, the makeup is supposed to look natural, the hair is usually as natural as possible, or ponytails, like there's no reason to be there so many hours before, and I have taken both of those pieces of advice to heart, and sometimes I take 30 minutes in hair and makeup, so it's zoom through, yeah. So, yeah. Any more questions?
Sure. Are there
I'm
more
4.5
questions in the
minutes.
back rows?
Sorry? Yeah, there is.
Hello.
Hi.
My question is, what interesting character part would you like to provoke and why?
To play?
Yeah, to provoke to play.
To play. Of any already existing movies like that we would have done? That's a good question too. What movie part do you want to play?
Yes, I understand.
You want to play Sicario?
That would be a
Emily
cool role.
Blunt Sicario, good role for you.
That would be, well, thank you. You're pigeonholing me now.
No, it's a really great, complex role.
It is. It's a great
Strong
role.
female.
One of my top favorite movies is Kramer versus Kramer. I don't know if you watched it with Meryl Streep and Dustin Hoffman. It's old. It's from the, I think, I want to say 80s or something, and she plays like a very broken mom who makes a bad decision, decides to come back. It's a great movie. So I think at this point in time, I think a role that would step away from what people know me as, the action, tougher woman, something. So I think somebody with, I can't even say more frailty because Kenzie's been showing a lot of frailty in the last few years, but
Vulnerability.
vulnerability. You're right. Sorry, that's a better word, not frailty. Vulnerability. Yeah, I think a role like that, or even, yeah, I think a role like that.
I think for recently, I mean, there's different movies you watch and you go, of course I'd love to play that. But for recently, because we're on the show, we shoot 10 months out of the year, so you only have 2 months off, and it's really hard to get a movie in there. Let alone if, like a big feature, you can't, because big features take 6 months sometimes to shoot. But I remember reading the sides of and pieces of the script of Guardians of the Galaxy, and I was like, oh, that's kind of my voice. And then I watched it, and I was like, oh my God. Chris Pratt is so good. So I thought, like, that's a role I'd love to play. And then I saw the movie, I was like, he should play that because he's amazing. But that kind of, it's like the Indiana Jones rogue swashbuckler kind of Harrison Ford character that those are fun characters.
Yeah. I just want to experience everything as an actress, to be honest with you. I want to play all the characters.
It seems selfish.
Okay, more questions.
Oh.
Just yell it
You
out.
already had one. Let's try the lady right at the back there, yeah.
Hello, I have a question. What are your favorite movies?
Our
What?
favorite movies?
What are your favorite movies?
Favorite movies?
Yes.
Ooh.
There's a few.
This is a game I would play when I was in college. And
I was about to say you should tell this story.
And I would go on dates with girls, and I'd be like, let's make this simple. Name, you're going to go on an island, and you can take your 5 movies to watch for the rest of your life. Like, you get 5, that's it.
And 5 books?
5 books.
And 5 CDs.
5 CDs with 5 albums, and then there's more to it. But that, you can clearly define a person by kind of those things. And for me, one of my favorite movies of all time is True Romance by Quentin Tarantino. He wrote it, Tony Scott directed it. It's this great, unconventional anti-hero love story. Groundhog Day is a perfect movie. Remember, do you guys seen Groundhog Day? What else? What are your 5?
I can't remember my top 5.
Ratatouille. Have you guys seen Ratatouille lately?
Yeah.
That movie's perfect. I watch it with my son all the time. I was like, this movie's so good.
The 3 that pop in my mind right now, it's Kramer versus Kramer that I just told you is one of my top 5 movies. Tootsie. Also with Dustin Hoffman. You just saw that for the first time, right?
No, resaw it.
Resaw it for the first time, yeah. Have you guys seen Tootsie? It's so good. And this is kind of a silly one, but I really love it. I've seen it over and over and over again because it makes me feel good every time, but Love Actually. I love that movie. It's just so sweet.
It's a good movie.
And there's a bunch. I mean, it's hard to define just 5 because, it's like, what are your top comedies? What are your top dramas? What are your top action movies? So, yeah.
But movies you can watch over and over again?
Yeah.
That's a good question to have everyone answer.
Neat.
Pressure, but this question
Is there
gonna be the last
another
question.
is there another panel after us?
Yeah, we have something
Arrow.
scheduled afterwards, unfortunately.
Oh, okay, because we were 10 minutes late, so I was going to say I don't mind stretching. But that's okay.
Unless we have no more questions, in which case we'll
We
just
do.
sing.
There's 2 questions right here.
Okay.
We'll do it both, but very quickly.
Hello, earlier you talked about working with Mark Harmon. How was it working with Michael Weatherly when he joined you for the 1 episode?
It's a great question.
Best.
He's awesome. He's everything that you want him to be. So whatever you have in your head right now about Michael Weatherly, he's that. He's funny, he's charming, he's self-deprecating. There's a scene that we have in our show where I go, he improv, is it in there? The Alec Baldwin thing?
Yeah. Was that in there? Did they put that in? They might have. I don't know. I was behind the camera just like...
He and I improv back and forth a bunch. And he said something about seeing Alec Baldwin. He was like, whoa, because he's in Washington, they come out to LA. He goes, I think I just saw Alec Baldwin. And I was like, you just saw yourself in the mirror, you look fat. Or something to that regard about him in a suit and whatever. And he lost it. He started laughing so hard. He's so funny. He's so funny.
Yeah, and I another story which wasn't even on set with him, but a lot of times, as an actor, if you're trying to build your career and build your contacts and everything, and sometimes when you're speaking to a producer or, are you?
Oh, it's a good story. That was an accident.
This is where I would punch him.
I'm so sorry. You're right, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was really just...
See, she'll punch you for me.
Oh, it's so painful.
And so you kind of, you're in this conversation, whatever it is, and we were at a CBS event, and I saw Michael, and I said, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, I just want to say goodbye, I'm leaving. And Michael said, no, stay, I'd love to introduce you to this person, which was very selfless of him, and it's not very typical for actors to kind of break a possible business connection with somebody to introduce another person. So he's very selfless in that way. He's very confident of himself. If that's my agent, tell her I'll call her back.
It's probably Weatherly. You want me to talk to your husband? I'll answer it.
So anyway, the bottom line is he's a really great guy. He's a great actor. He's a great father. He's just a great example.
I will do a show opposite Michael Weatherly in the future. At some point in time, Michael Weatherly and I will be off solving crimes in some TV show together. When Bull is done, he's leaving you a message right now. He's like, how long does this Q&A go?
You said 4.
When are you coming home to me, my sweet? Does he call you my sweet? All right, go quickly. Ask your question.
Yes, what is the best memory you're taking from Hannover?
The best memory?
Hannover?
Yes,
You guys.
Here, in or outside of?
You guys.
100%.
Thank you.
The experience here, just sitting here talking to you, watching your faces and knowing that a lot of you probably watched 600 and how many hours? Television.
144 specifically.
You guys need to understand that if you guys don't watch the show, you guys and the people around the world, if you don't watch the show, we don't have jobs. So this is a two-way street. It goes both ways. We appreciate you, believe me, we appreciate every single one of you. Your questions, following us on social media and being interested in what we have to offer. So thank you.
Yeah, that's a true statement, and I think that people lose sight of that is that the only reason we're up here is because you guys and your families and everybody support the show. And I think that the great thing about our cast, LL, Chris, everybody else, is we recognize that's where that comes from. I see a lot of people that are on these shows that kind of just blow through it. And I go, dude, this is, these are the people that you guys invite us into your homes every week. We see you at Monday night at 9 o'clock or whatever it is. We're on whatever country, and without that, we're not here. So thank you for taking the time to do it.
And thank you to those who came from different cities in Germany, different countries. I can't believe you guys did that.
Holland, Amsterdam, Brazil, Norway?
Is there a Norwegian here?
All weekend, no Norwegians.
Wait, any Scandinavians?
Oh my God. They just don't leave their snow-encrusted planet.
No Scandinavians.
Any Portuguese?
Well, there's the Brazilian right there.
That's Brazil. It's a separate country.
We colonized them.
How do you feel about that? She just said she colonized your people. Remember when you were happy and then the Portuguese came in and were like, we're taking over, learn our language. And you're like, obrigado. You're like, here, have some fish.
Did you not like being colonized by the British?
We broke away.
They gave you your language too.
That's true. She's not wrong. Anything else?
Yeah, we are also very thankful, I'm over here, that you're here and you had a great time with us at the MCM and Hannover. And yeah, we're looking forward to see you again soon.
We'll probably come back in 2 years, at which point I will be fluent in German.
Okay.